Welcome to Uncopyable Women in Business. I'm Kay Miller, also known as Muffler Mama. I've been the #1 salesperson in a male-dominated industry, a successful entrepreneur for over 30 years, and now my mission is to help you build a business and brand nobody else can compete with. If you're ready to break out of the pack and create your own uncopyable advantage, stay tuned. My guests and I are here to help. And a quick heads up, I just released something brand new to help you boost your sales without being pushy or salesy. I'll tell you more about it later in the show, but if you can't wait, go to beuncopyable.com/sales-course. And that link is in the show notes. I am so excited to be back with one of my favorite people. I guess I better not say my favorite person. People will feel bad. Kindsey Haynes, who is the Chief Marketing Officer of Kirkham IronTech, managed IT service and cybersecurity company. Kindsey, it's so great to see you. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me again.
Kindsey and I have really clicked through the years. I think we met in 2020 and you were just an intern and you've had quite a journey since then. And one of the things I really want to talk about, but we're not going to talk about it first, is the fact that you do live and work remotely. And your company, you're born and raised in Fort Smith, Arkansas, and now you work in Hawaii. So I'd like for you, the listener, just to think about possibilities. I think we all get in our rut, at least I do. And I think listening to Kindsey's story and what she's been able to do with her life and for her company, her boss, Tom Kirkham, feels like he hit the lottery when he found Kindsey. And Kindsey, you feel the same about Tom. What a perfect marriage of just really things that came together so perfectly. So Kindsey, before we talk about your life in Hawaii and some of that, I was asking you beforehand, what do you think would be the most exciting thing for you to talk about? And you quickly answered, didn't you?
Good. Yeah.
What did you say?
LinkedIn.
LinkedIn. And LinkedIn is such a part of everyone's marketing and networking, selling, everything now. And we hear a lot of advice about how to use LinkedIn. And you've got some twists on that. And one of them is that you are very successful using it and you don't pay for the premium or navigator versions. So hopefully LinkedIn isn't listening. But I would love to have you tell us about what you were talking about before we started.
Yeah. So right now, LinkedIn is our #1 form of lead generation. It's not always been that way. We've done webinars, we've done different things over the years, but most recently it's in LinkedIn. And I'm not using Sales Navigator, which is crazy. I tried Sales Navigator. I wasn't that impressed with it. I feel like you can still get out of a lot, like just with the normal version of LinkedIn. And what I have figured out is that messaging with humor, it works. And there's a little process you can do to connect with the right people and to send the right message at the right time. And it's been a process. I started like messaging, like not officially on LinkedIn I want to say about a year ago. I dug into it, but I really hit it hard more recently this year. And what I mean by that is about a year ago, I would invite them to webinars and stuff on LinkedIn, but I wasn't really doing any sales outreach at all. It was just more, hey, and join us for this event if you're available kind of thing. But what I've been doing now is every week you get, I think it's 100 connections on your account, and you should be using them until you run out every single week. And with those connections, they need to be your moose. And if you've been following Kay, you know what your moose is, which is going to be your ideal prospect. We like to work with lawyers, accountants, manufacturers, engineers. Some companies may just work with dentists. Everyone's got their prospect. Well, on LinkedIn, you can use that search tab up at the top and say you want to work with IT managers, which is someone that we would commonly work with. You want to work with IT managers in law firms or only just in the legal industry. There's a filter button on like when you type in that search. So you do IT manager, enter. When you pulled up a search, there's more filters that pull up. under that search bar. And if you click off filters, there's like locations, there's, again, you'll see the job title, and then there's industries. And that's where I go in and I put the US because we mainly focus on US based companies. And then I will put the industry. So I will do like law firms. And then it's going to pull all the IT managers for law firms in the US. And I think a lot of people think that's only part of the paid version, but it's actually something that is free. Now, on the free version, you can run out of like search credits. If you're doing too many searches in one day, it'll stop you. So you're not going to want to do CEOs at law firms at the same time because then you're going to be doing a whole bunch of searches. But then you just go and you connect with every single one of them and you exhaust your credits for that week. And you keep doing that every single week. And eventually you're going to have a whole bunch of connections on your profile that meet your ideal prospect. And if you're smart, you're going to have your profile set up to where, I'm not sure if it's called your heading or what it is exactly called, but I think I have by my name, it says Kindsey Haynes, protecting businesses from cyber attacks. So immediately they see my name and they know what I do. They don't have to go and look at my profile. A lot of people just accept that connection because they know I'm going to be of use to their business.
Because, yeah, your profile tells them the problem that you solve.
Exactly, exactly. And so from that point, eventually people are going to start accepting it. Not everybody gets on LinkedIn every day. Some days they're going to accept it a week later. But I recommend going and just messaging as they accept your connection. You can do this every morning when you start your workday. Just go through and just send a message to all those new connections. And the best way to go and see your list of connections, so you're not having to dig through who's new, is if you go to your profile and then you click connections, not followers. If you click connections, it's going to put it in order of like recently added. So you can easily just go click message. And what I do is I copy and paste a pretty simple message and I'll just go and change their first name. And it is as simple as, hey, Bob, let me read it to you so I can just give you exactly what I'm saying.
And while you're looking at that, I just want to mention a couple things. One is we're talking about a lot of things that it will be helpful if you go back and listen to the couple previous episodes that Kindsey and I have recorded together. And you can also see how this has morphed.
Yeah.
Learn more about Kindsey in case you don't know what managed IT is or cybersecurity. I'll put that in the show notes, but we're throwing a lot of things at you, but this has been a real process for Kindsey. That just want to throw that in. Yeah, let's hear your exact message. And you sent them, like you said, you aren't paying for the privilege of writing them a note. You're just requesting connections and then you're following up with this message.
Yeah, once they accept. So it'll be, hey, Bob, when are you available for a chat or can I give you a call? I'd like to talk about how our co-managed IT and cybersecurity services can improve your current IT infrastructure. Talk soon, smiley face. Super short, super simple. That's it. It's nice, to the point, has their first name, so it's personalized. And I'm copying and pasting, but I'm changing that name as I go through. So I'm not having to type out the whole thing. And then I wait. I don't send anything else for a week to 2 weeks. And then I go and I send a funny GIF that has something to do with them not replying, which there's so many out there about being left on red or just
I know you told me about a way to generate those memes, and I like your strategy of sending something, a message, yeah, I'd love to connect, but then you leave them alone for a while, and then your secret weapon that you've discovered.
So yeah, I'll send that follow-up message, and then if they don't reply, I'll send another follow-up. And I do that periodically, and they're all funny memes. Like every message I send them after that first one is hilarious. It's something that's going to get them to laugh. Some of the messages I've gotten from people is the reason I've not replied is because your messages are so funny. I just want to see what you're going to send next. I get those messages all the time if people are like, this is some of the best marketing I've seen. This is hilarious. It's great because I'm getting good feedback. I've had very few people be like, okay, this is annoying. But most people are like, this is great. I don't see anything like this. No one sends personal, funny stuff like this. And another tip slash trick is in the memes, they're personalized. So in one of the memes, I think it's like memegenerator.com is what I use. But you can go and customize your own memes and put your name in there. So like I have a Drake meme that says no reply to Kindsey and then it says reply to Kindsey. Yeah, that's what you want to do. So it's not just a meme I got off the internet. It's a meme that I spent time creating.
Yeah, I love that. And you know what? You were hired as an intern, of course, right from the very beginning. You were introduced to Uncopyable and it just totally resonated with it. You grabbed it, and here you are integrating it into what you're doing. And I think I told you before we talked, I hear a lot of LinkedIn teachers and people who talk about how to use LinkedIn, and it's a super time consuming process. Identify your exact product or prospect, your moose, and then slowly get to know them and comment and do all this stuff. And yes, that works, but it takes so much time. And Kinsey, you wouldn't get it done. You want more customers for Kirkham IronTech, and you're getting them. And I love the fact that, of course, I'm sure, like you said, it doesn't work for everyone, but by being different, personable, funny, when people say, "I've never seen anyone else do that," is that the greatest thing ever?
It definitely makes me feel good. Yeah, it's great. It's great. Something else that I wanted to add is that whenever I am doing these messages, and so say I do the once every couple weeks, I send 4 or 5 messages, then I'll wait. And I'll wait 6 months or 7 months or even a year. Some of these guys, it's been a year since I've messaged them. And there was this recent deal actually where it was about this time last year. He had responded to one of my messages and we set up a meeting, and it was a really big deal. And he was just like, right now's not the right time. And that's okay, not a big deal. Well, I messaged him on LinkedIn a couple of months ago just saying, hey, it's been a long time since we've talked. I hope everything's going okay. I hope you're well. And he's like, yeah, I'm actually thinking about retiring. I need someone to handle our IT. And that's a $50,000 a month deal. And that's just from me checking in on LinkedIn saying, hey, how are you doing? It's been a while. Even using LinkedIn to follow up with old connections or old deals. It's just a different form of outreach that your email could be good, going to junk or getting lost. People are busy. So LinkedIn is just something different, and you can make your messages really stand out.
And again, you're not using the paid versions.
Right.
So you're taking a different tack, and your results have been great. Yeah, I think that's great. Before we started recording, we talked about creating an opportunity. You and I said we should come up with something so that if you want to learn more about this and how to do it, Kinsey are going to put something together. I'll put the link in the show notes. We'll hash out what exactly this is going to be, but I mean, the results that you could get $50,000 a month by using LinkedIn in a different way. Like you said, it's set it and forget it. You probably
It is.
just have a reminder.
Yeah.
And sometimes, like we always say, an uncopyable, you want to be on the mind of the prospect when the prospect is ready to buy, and you don't know
Right.
when that's going to happen.
Exactly.
So I think this is really brilliant, that what you've come up with. Hey there, just popping in for a quick break to tell you more about that thing I mentioned earlier. It's called the Uncopyable Sales Secrets video series. It's a 9-part, bite-sized course I created to help you sell more without feeling pushy or salesy. In just a few minutes a day, you'll learn how to stand out to new prospects, become a true asset to your current customers, and uncover sales opportunities your competition is totally missing. If you're serious about growing your sales and your business, this will work for you. Check it out at beuncopyable.com/sales-course. And by the way, that link is in the show notes. Now, back to the show. Now, can you talk about the other thing that you mentioned about if someone else has a gathering of your moose, which is your ideal target market, that you found a way to get to those people?
Yeah, so I was telling you guys about how you can search to find your moose. I recently came across this other way that you could easily just connect with a whole bunch of your ideal prospect, which is, I'll just use the example of IT managers since we've been using them. But say on LinkedIn, there's an event from CISA, the big cybersecurity agency. And
We don't know, but we'll take your word for it.
yeah, it's
Not familiar, but
and a whole bunch of IT managers said on LinkedIn they're going to this webinar. It's a LinkedIn event. And so they've got on LinkedIn that they're going, and it shows on LinkedIn if you click attending, like I, Kinsey, go and click that I'm going to attend this event. It's free to the public on LinkedIn. Once I click that I'm attending, I'm going to get that whole attendee list on LinkedIn.
Oh, so when you sign up for it, basically.
Yeah. So from that point, I'm looking at a list of this event from the cybersecurity agency. And I know, because I know my prospects, I know that IT managers are going to be going to that because CISA is someone that they're going to be paying attention to. So from there, you can go and connect and connect and connect. And that's another way you can reach your moose without having to do all the searching on LinkedIn. And I'm sure you could get more specific with it. That was a very broad example with the cybersecurity agency, but I'm sure you could find some pretty niche events and find people that you know would be good fits for you.
And something else you mentioned is that they're also the kinds of people who are engaged and learning. LinkedIn is such a great tool. And of course, there are other prospects out there who aren't on LinkedIn, but how do you get to them? How do you find them? It would be a really labor intensive process to go through and find people, but you're finding people that not only are your moose, but they're also willing to attend a webinar. They're interested in learning. They're interested in wanting to improve, whatever. You've got not only the information on who they are, but other things about them that are going to really help you even more.
Yeah.
Stay tuned. I learned so much about you. Kindsey and I argue about who learns more from who. I started out as your being a mentor, and we just not only have we clicked, but I learned so much from you, and you're just so generous with your time in teaching me. That's been great. We're going to go through a few things quickly, and so let's jump into the fun part. You're living and working remotely in Hawaii.
Yeah.
Tom hired you right when your first meeting. You met with the other co-owner, and they walked out of the office saying, "We need her." So you're obviously really valuable. And if you're listening, if you're a salesperson or a marketer or anybody, and you make yourself so valuable, you go above and beyond. Kindsey, you learn, you read, you're always on top of the latest technologies. So what happened? How did you decide that you'd like to go and live in Hawaii and work in Hawaii?
So my dad had a couple jobs out here when I was a little girl doing property management, which is what he still does now, just not here in Hawaii. And so I fell in love with this island at a very young age. And being from Arkansas, Oklahoma, not a lot of people leave. And I was very fortunate to have even really left the state at such a young age and be exposed to this other part of the country. And so it was just always a dream of mine since I was a little girl to just make it out here officially. And I wanted to come to college out here, but it was very expensive. And my mom's a professor at the University of Arkansas, Fort Smith. So I got a discount at UFIS. So it just made more sense.
Thanks, Mom.
Yeah. Yeah. So I definitely saved a lot of money, like on tuition. It would have been very expensive coming out here. So I did school, graduated May of 2020. COVID was March 2020. I started working for Tom January 2020. So I was working in the office physically for 3 months when we went fully remote. And classes, I had, I guess at that point, just a couple of weeks of classes left before I walked to graduate with my bachelor's. They canceled all the classes. And Tom was like, you know what? Do you just want to go ahead and start working full time? I was like, what else am I going to be doing right now? Everything was shut down. And the teachers didn't know how to do the online classes at that point. So I didn't really have any more class. Like I got my degree and that was it. So I started working full time and I worked from home in Arkansas for about a year. And I never went to the office, not once. And me and Tom, everybody, it just worked so good on Zoom and being able to work from home. There are no issues with it. We were able to communicate just fine. Every event we were doing was a webinar. It was all virtual. So it wasn't like I was really needing to travel or anything like that, which I probably would have if COVID hadn't have happened. And so, yeah, I just asked Tom one day, hey, what are your thoughts on me possibly moving and working from home somewhere else? And he 100% supported it, which of course meant the world to me because you can't expect that from every boss. And Tom's just so amazing. And so, yeah, I've been out here, it'll be 4 years in June. And I'm still working.
Time flies.
It does. Yeah. I'm still working for Kirkham IronTech, and our company has just taken off.
Oh my gosh. And you have to, I know you don't mind taking some of the credit. You deserve a lot of the credit. But yeah, Kirkham IronTech, Tom Kirkham, he is a great guy. And if he listens to this, I don't want him to get too big of a head, but
Yeah.
you guys were this match that you're so valuable to him. But he's a special guy to have said, okay, yeah, I trust you to go over there and work.
Yeah.
And similar to sales, if you get it done, nobody's going to be really checking in on you. And you haven't tell us about your schedule.
Yeah. When I moved out here, I also was like, so could I try out the 10-hour days? And so I could have that 3-day weekend. So I started doing that. And with the company being in Arkansas and like my intern and my sales team, everyone's on Central Time. And I'm in Hawaii. So that's right now a 5-hour time difference. So
5 hours if you're not paying attention. I'm West Coast and you're still 3 hours behind me.
Yeah.
From East Coast, you're 6 hours. So you don't start working at 9 a.m., do you?
No, I don't. I wake up about 4 and I start at 5, which is 10 Arkansas time, which is still late. And I haven't always done that. I've switched it over the years. When I first moved out here, I was starting at 3 a.m.
Remember that.
It was rough, but I've learned to love mornings and it's nice. The team's been awesome. Everyone's super flexible and doesn't mind that I'm coming in at 10. We make it work. And yeah, it's been awesome. No regrets whatsoever.
And then you totally maximize that time, like you said, in 3-day weekend. But I don't know were you always 4 days or did?
No, not in Arkansas. I didn't start that until I came out here, but I've always done the 4 days since.
Okay, here. So yes, it takes discipline, obviously. I'm sure your body clock, Christian, you're young. You just asked me about Nashville. I got back from Nashville. I'm like, oh man, I think I'm too old for Nashville. But you're outside and you're on the beach by what time?
3. Sun's not setting till around 7. So it's still plenty of time to do what I need to do. And I'm usually asleep around 8, which is early, but I don't mind it. I don't mind it at all.
Yeah. Don't just think out of the box. Build your own box. You've totally built your own box. And you used to spend time on the beach. And I know you still do, but now some other things have happened where you've got this great, awesome guy and you guys have all these interests together, like growing organic food. And all these possibilities have opened up for you. You deserve every one. You also were lucky, I suppose, in some ways to be hooked up with Tom before you even graduated. It couldn't happen to a nicer, better person, honestly.
Thank you, Kay.
So just don't be afraid to dream when you're listening to this. Think, wow. And I didn't know you'd been to Hawaii as a kid like that or lived there for a while.
Yeah. My dad, he would have to come out here. There was once I think I had a day's notice and we're out here for a whole month one summer. So it was like my second home, and I met one of my best friends here when I was a little girl. So in high school, as soon as my mom would let me come out here by myself, I was coming out here by myself and staying with my friends. So that started about when I was 16. So I got the teenage feeling and loved it as a teenager too. And that made it a little bit easier moving out here too. My friends they'd all moved by the time I got out here, but I at least had a sense of like my whereabouts and where I was going and all that.
Yeah, I suppose if you'd never been to Hawaii, this wouldn't have come up. But although I know you love to travel, was it New Zealand that you went to a couple of years ago? Australia. I don't even know. Australia. Yeah. So you're a traveler and you'll continue to be, but just really exciting. And as we just mentioned, you've really helped or been responsible for exploding the growth of the company. And during that time, you have expanded on your different moves. You've dropped some other moves. You've dialed things in. You've tried different tools. And so it's been a learning process, but you've just found what works, stick with that, drop what doesn't. And there's been quite a process. As I said, Kindsey, we're going to put something together so people can learn a little more about how they can do this with their companies, because you're super creative with it. So we just have, of course, a couple minutes, and I guess I'll just ask you to talk a couple minutes about Apollo. I think you said that would be probably your top tool that you'd like to talk about for getting leads and et cetera?
Yeah. So it's apollo.io, and there is a free version. So I'm using the paid version, but the free version's pretty good too. Don't discount it at all. It is a tool that pulls people that are showing intent. For example, I want to know who's searching into Google managed IT services for law firms or managed IT services. And Apollo pulls that. All these search engines are selling your data, which a lot of us know that. And Google's a big one. And the data that is being sold is your IP address. And that IP address is going to be your location. And if you're with a company, it's going to pull that. So Apollo is pulling everyone that's Googling or searching the intent that you want. If you're, what would be another example? If you're trying to sell just like books, you wrote a book and you're trying to sell books, you could
hypothetically,
Uncopyable books. You could go into Apollo and you could put as the intent sales books or sales research or sales tactics. And it's going to show you the companies that are showing that intent. And then it's your job to go in and identify who that person might be. So in our case, I am looking for people searching IT services, and I'm going to want their IT manager. And that's probably who's going to be looking up IT services in that company, not the marketing director, not the salesperson. And so then I'm going to know to outreach to them. And Apollo automates all of it. It's an email outreach platform. And so it sends people emails based off of the intent they're showing. It also pulls who's on your website. So if there's anyone on your website, it can send them emails too. It also does job roles. So I have a sequence set up for anytime a job opening is posted for hiring an IT director, they get an email from us saying, hey, I saw you're hiring for an IT director, but we can fill that role for you and save you some money doing it. It's pretty cool stuff. You can add, I think, up to 5 different email addresses. And one thing I've learned is that you don't want to email from your main domain, your email domain. So ours is KirkhamIronTech.com. You don't want to put that into Apollo. That can hurt your email reputation. Google and Yahoo and all these companies are tightening their spam filters, which means if you're sending out a whole bunch of emails, the more that you're blocked by a spam filter, the more your reputation is going to get hit. And you could actually be blacklisted and banned from sending emails to Google from that email address.
So you have to be careful.
You got to be careful. Everyone has to be careful. It doesn't matter really who you are. You need to be careful sending out emails like that. So I recommend creating a subdomain, which is something we did. So our subdomain is, we did a rebrand recently and it's all superhero themed. So our subdomain is sidekick.kirkhamirontech. So the email would be kinsey@sidekick.kirkhamirontech.com. And that's really helping with our email deliverability. And we're actually sending out more emails because we're not getting hit by those spam filters as often. But Apollo is great. It also has the CRM function in it. So if you're using HubSpot CRM or something like that, you can track all of your deals inside of there. It connects with Zoom. If you're using like a Fathom note taker, it does that. It's got a scheduler inside of it. It's insane. Oh, another cool thing I want to add is it has a pretty cool AI function. So inside of your emails, you can add a syntax for an AI opener. So say I'm going to send an email to UK about trying to sell our services, okay? And let's say you visited our website. And so I want to send you an email because you came to our website. And the AI opener I have set up in my email flow. And the AI opener is where Apollo automatically goes and searches the web for all about Kay Miller. And it's going to generate a first sentence that appeals to you based off of your experience or whatever it might be. So it could say something about, hey, Kay, I just saw that you came out with this new book. And I want to say congrats and that the reviews are awesome. It could say really anything. It changes it every single time. And then after that, you can have your message, or you can do a full AI email where it literally writes the whole email for you. And of course, you give AI the inputs. What are our selling points? What are our USPs? And it does it for you. I don't have enough trust for that, but I do use the AI opener because I think it really does help with some of the open rates. People see that first sentence and they think I did my research, and that's why I want to talk to them. So it's pretty cool. I could go on and on about Apollo, but it also gives you those LinkedIn connections, those LinkedIn messages I'm doing. Apollo has a Google Chrome extension, so it automatically connects with people for you. And you just sit there, you don't have to push any buttons, and it literally goes from page to page and it connects for you. It'll like their posts for you. It will message them for you. And that's an Apollo Google Chrome extension, and it does it all for you. So
that's pretty amazing. I mean, Google tracks what we are interested in, what we want. And some people think that's so creepy, but it's also helpful. If I'm interested in IT, seriously, sometimes I click on something because I know, okay, they're going to know I'm interested. I'll find out more. I'll hear more.
Yeah.
And then if they aren't interested, you don't want to bug them. If they're not a moose, hey, go about your merry way. If you're listening and you feel like this is crazy, cool, join the club. I'm always learning a lot, and just there are so many ways to be more efficient, more effective in your marketing, and make more sales is obviously the end goal. If you could say something like, yeah, we closed a $50,000 a month deal through what Kindsey described as a pretty simple process that nobody's going to be really ticked off about. Props to you, Kindsey. I know I'm a Kindsey fan. So Kindsey, thank you so much. I'll put this information in the show notes. Love you. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Uncopyable Women in Business. Please subscribe, share, rate, and review the show. I also invite you to join our Facebook group, Be Uncopyable. Feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn or find me at beuncopyable.com. Thanks again, and see you next time.